In our first video, Perfect Buzzcuts Volume 1, we showed you how to do a normal flat top on the longer side. This time we're going to show you how to do the much shorter version known as the flat top with a landing strip or a horseshoe formation. We start by wetting our hair with hairspray, or you could use mousse or some type of heat setting gel, and with the dryer set on a low setting, dry the hair straight back against the grain using a broad comb or a brush. Once we have our hair dried up, we can take the bare blade of our clipper and go over the sides so we can fade the sides perfectly. Notice as we come up to the hairline, always rock the clipper away from where the hair is growing so you don't get a straight line effect. It's important to go over the entire back and probably repeat going over areas so that you don't leave any stray hairs sticking up that the clipper might have missed. Now we position our comb so that it is held flat across the top of the head. We're going to hold the comb down rather close to the scalp, although not completely touching it, and run the clipper blade straight across the comb to take off any hair that sticks off beyond it. Start at the front and work slowly toward the back. Although I have tilted the head here so that it faces the camera a little better, it's always wise to keep the head straight up, looking forward, straight ahead. Next we go to the sides and hold the comb up so that any hair that sticks off from the side will be cut, and then go and hold again straight across the top we've just cut to make sure that we match the guideline that we've cut the first time across. Repeat the same process on the opposite side of the head. If the hair starts to fall down, it's a good idea to use a little more hairspray and dry it back up, seeing as most of the hair which was soaked with the hairspray has probably been cut off at this point. Again, we use our dryer, and this time using a broad brush instead of a comb is probably a little better idea. Remember, we dry straight against the grain of how the hair grows. Here's a little better close-up view of how we want our hair sticking up, and we can see the starting formation of our horseshoe or landing strip. Now it's important to look for any areas that may be a little uneven. So we take our comb, holding it straight across the front, shorten the front just a little to make sure that we're even all the way across and toward the back of the head. Next, we're going to take a tapering guide. This one allows for the hair to be cut much shorter on the right side of the clipper. And we're going to balance the clipper slightly across the top of the head so that the longer piece does not get cut down short, but we can keep our horseshoe ridge showing. So just lightly going across, balanced across the top of the cut area. Next, we'll switch to the opposite attachment. And going to the opposite side, do the same, balancing the low part of the guide toward the part of the hair that's shorter. Now, using that same guide, we can go back to the opposite side and hold the clipper on the lower part so that we can go gently across the side. Here, our lowest part of the guide was against the shortest part. Switch the guides again and do the other way. This time, not going across the top, but just across the side. You might want to circle a little around the back of the head, too, for any areas that look like they're sticking up and uneven. Now with the number 1 attachment, I'm going to go over the crown area to shorten it up just a little bit. Careful not to come too far forward so that we don't lose our ridge that forms our horseshoe. But using a rocking action, we're going to go over the crown area to make that a bit shorter than the longer part on the sides toward the front. Now, using the bare blade and the comb, we go across the top area again and cut off any stray areas that stick off beyond the comb. Using the bare blade, we'll check our taper line by using a slow rocking action. As we look at our front, we can see our horseshoe formation and the landing strip down the middle of the front of the hair. Use a little spray to stick it and dry it back up, and we should have our finished product looking very good here. Now I'm going to show you the very safe way to cut the sides very short. Nowadays, many people like to use a regular plastic disposable razor with shaving cream to cut the sides short, but that's very dangerous, can lead to cutting and scarring on the head. So what we're going to do is take some regular baby powder or talcum powder and spread it along any of the area that we want to cut on the shorter side. Next, we take a regular facial razor. This type is a foil type. There are many brands available. And just lightly go over our shortest part. This will cut the side area as close as it can be down to a completely shaved area, but it'll do it in a safe fashion, and we will not run the risk of any cutting of the skin. The idea of the talcum powder is to keep the razor from causing any type of razor burn. Here I'm going over the back with a regular finisher, which again cuts just about as close as a regular facial razor. You can use either type to get your shortest effect here, but using the powder underneath, again, make sure that you don't get a razor burn against the skin. Repeat the same process on the opposite side. And Again, here at the sideburn area, I'm going to use the facial razor to just lightly take off any areas that aren't quite short enough. Again, go over the back areas, any place you feel that there are uneven or rough spots. Be careful not to go so high as to cut into the taper area. And if necessary, take back out the clipper blade and rock over any areas where our taper line forms to make sure it's not a straight line. Here's our finished product. A very short flat top.